Dubai. I'm here with Spencer Lodge. I've been seeing your advertisement all over Facebook. You've been all over social media, and you've really been kind of pushing like a sales coach. You kind of got this whole system set up where you can help people grow their sales, right?
Yeah, quite simply, that's exactly what I do. There's too many people out there that set businesses up, have great ideas, great strategies and whatnot, but they don't know how to bring money through the front door.
Yeah.
So for me, it's helping people learn how to do that, and that's kind of like why I focused on it.
Yeah. And how did you get down this road? Because you have a business background, you've built businesses. Mm-hmm. What kind of spurred you to go from, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm running business, to I actually want to teach people how to do this?
I think that I'm really self-aware, so I know what I'm good at. And a lot of people, I don't think, are, and so they don't know what they're good at. And I know that I know what I know more than anything else about anything else is selling. And so whether that's online or offline, it's been my passion and my interest since I was 19 years old. So I think that's why I focus on teaching that, because it's something I know that I'm good at, and I don't even need to concentrate on it. It's kind of subconscious. It just kind of comes out of my pores. It comes out of every part of me, you know.
Yeah. And so what kind of business background did you have? Because you financial services, right? You built a couple of large financial services companies.
I'm not, my background actually is sales. The fact that there were financial services in there, among other things, it really comes back down to being a salesperson again. You know, I started off, my first ever job was selling cash registers, knocking on doors in London, literally tills for shops. Yeah. And I had a month of that. That was horrific. And then I learned to sell office equipment at Rank Xerox, and that was kind of like the real training that I got in the basics. And again, with office equipment, you make 100 phone calls, and 99 people swear at you. Especially in London. And so I learned how to be a salesperson, and I got an opportunity to go and live and work in Hong Kong when I was 23 years old. And because I'd lived overseas as a kid, the opportunity to go and work overseas as an adult was no big drama to me. It was kind of more money and a bit of prestige, and my buddies were going, "No, don't go, stay in London, in London." But this chance was there, and I took it. But my boss, when I got to Hong Kong, said, "Look, you're 23 years old. Nobody's going to trust you with their money. No one. Yeah. So you're going to have to realise that's going to be a problem for you. And the only way to get around that is to become a superstar in terms of your knowledge." So he brought a box in of books and he put it on my desk, and he said, "If I find you in a bar or a nightclub in the next 3 months, I will fire you." He said, "Go home every night and study these books." Wow. And so there was about 9 books in this thing. I went through the books, done all that, gave him the books back, and I was like, "Yeah, no, done the books." And he was like, "Excellent stuff, thanks very much. Tell me about them." I told him about them, and he got another box out and he gave me another 9 books. So I had 3 months of really intensive study, and this was before the internet. Yeah. So the only financial stuff out there was like the Financial Times or a weekly fax from Fidelity that would come through saying, you know, this is the market update. Yeah. But by doing it, it taught me a lot about financial services, and it taught me to understand products and the markets much better than most people did. Yeah. And that's what I used to leverage. Talking to people, you know, a 50-year-old man with his life savings in his hand and a 23-year-old kid, you know. I'm nearly 50 myself. Would I trust a 23-year-old kid? It was that smarts that I had that really made the difference. And so I was a sales guy, and I did well. I lived in 10 different countries, and I partnered with some other guys, and we built a business, and that business grew exponentially, and it was incredibly successful. And I was in my place, you know, building businesses, but building sales teams, really. There was operations and stuff being done for me. Now, if you'd have said to me, run the operations, or I'd have been like, nah, it's not going to happen. I just don't have the attention span for that kind of stuff, you know? Yeah,
exactly. And so you've taken that knowledge and created a university, essentially, right? To help other people take their sales to the next level. That's kind of what you're focused on now.
Yeah, so something happened to me a few years ago. I was teaching people to sell, but this guy came into my office, and he was like 6'4". He was a big guy, had muscles from Brussels, shaven head, and he looked through the door at me, and he was like, "Are you the sales guru?" And I'm like, "Guru? Not sure I'm comfortable with that word." And he's like, "I've got problems and I need some help, and someone told me to come and see you." "What's the problem?" He said, "I've not been able to make any sales recently. I can't pay my rent. I've got back payments on my credit cards. I'm in trouble. Can you help me?" Yeah. And when you've got a big opposing guy in your doorway, you know, filling the doorway, you're not going to say no, you know. So I sat down with him, and I spent a couple of hours understanding his sales process and teaching him what I could to help him get somewhere. And he left the meeting, and he was re-energized and positive and excited, and I'm like, yeah, it made a difference. And I said, I'll see you in a month. Come and see me in a month. So we met at a hotel here in Dubai a month later. And I was expecting him to bounce in, you know, larger than life. But he didn't. He came in and he said, I'm like, what's going on? He's like, things are better, but they're not as good as they could have been. I'm like, well, tell me about the sales process. Tell me about your referrals. Tell me about the new clients you've got. And as he was explaining it, he said, I've got a bit of a problem. What's your problem? He said, I forgot most of what you taught me. He said, I remember some things, but I forgot most of it. Could I ask a big favour? Yeah. He said, would you video it? Would you sit and record that information for me on a video, on your phone, so that at least I can keep it and listen to it over and over again?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'd never done video before at all. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I sent him on his way, and I got home. I said to my wife, they want me to do video. This guy wants video. She's like, man up.
Yeah.
And so then I spoke to my secretary, Sarah. I'm like, yeah, this guy wants me to make a video. And she's like, make it happen. And that's where the name came from, for Make It Happen. Anyway, so I went to the office the next day. There was a box on my desk from souk.com. So I opened the box. Inside, there was all that polystyrene stuff that pops out. Inside was a tripod.
Yeah.
And there was a note saying, if you put your phone in the tripod, it will stay stable for you while you film. Thanks, mate. All the best, Simon. So the guy I saw yesterday got me a tripod. And it was kind of like, where can I turn now? I'm not getting out of this.
He gave you the tools. You got to do it.
Absolutely. So I sat in my office. I got the light on my face from the window, and I recorded for him a couple of hours of content. And it, ramblings. The amount of times I deleted it as well, and started again. But I sent it across to him on Dropbox, and I saw him 6 weeks later, and he was a changed man. Now this guy's from the north of England in the UK, so he has a drastically different accent to me.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said as he walked in, he said, I could even do your accent. I'm like, tell me. And everything had turned around for him because he'd been listening to the content and watching the content, consuming it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So he was using it, before he went into his sales meetings, taking that information, remembering it, going and using and deploying those strategies.
Yeah.
And it was that made me think, hold on a minute, the world's changing.
Yeah.
Video content clearly must play a part.
Yeah.
How do I do it? So I decided to learn, and so I went to learn, and then I got a recording studio organised in South Africa because it was half the price of Dubai. So I flew down to South Africa, 2 weeks of recording studio, and I'm like, really excited, yeah? And so I walk into the studio the next day after getting there. I've got the producer, and he's like, right, can I have a list of the content? How are we going to be doing this? He goes, obviously everything's here, so just go through it with me. And I went, don't you worry, it's all in there. And he was like, really? I'm like, don't you? He said, 2 weeks of work is in there. I'm like, yeah, trust me. Anyway, so we started filming on day one, got to the end of day one, got to the end of day two, and run out of content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a 2-week booking in the studio.
Yeah.
I was like, man, there's a lot more to this than meets the eye.
Yeah.
So then I stayed in my hotel room for 2 days, and I broke down everything into short clips. So 5-minute videos where I could take each particular subject and just talk about it for 5 minutes. And I created 450 videos and put them into 25 courses and put them into an online platform. Now, I didn't know much about digital sales back then and online selling. I'm an offline sales guy, I'm one of those old guys.
It's totally different, yeah.
So we launched it in December of 2016, and we're just going to sell it online. Everyone's going to buy it. It's going to be amazing. And so December 2016, we launched it at half price as an introductory offer, and we made sales. Yeah. And we were like, we've done it. We've mastered it. Yeah. Content, video, sales, it's all working. But in January, it almost fell off a cliff. And we didn't understand why. And I didn't understand enough about how you sell anything online.
Yeah.
And I realized it was another whole new world to learn about. And that's exactly what I went to learn. So I went to learn that, was able then to master that and the strategies that go with it. And then literally it's blown up from there. And so we have retail clients and corporate clients that have come onto the university and taken the benefit of what I teach.
Because you can work with individuals and companies, right? It's catered for both, right?
Well, invariably, what's a company? It's only people. And invariably when I go and see a company, the person making the decision is making a decision to train their sales force. Invariably, the sales force aren't the problem. It's the owner of the business that's the problem.
I was telling you that earlier about me. Sometimes you get in the way. You're just too emotional. You can't help it,
Yeah.
You get frustrated. You just fire someone that shouldn't be fired, you know?
And so I end up being a coach to the owners of a business, because there isn't any point me going in and fixing the sales force if it's only going to go back to where it started from 6 months later. I need to get the people that are the stakeholders in the business and teach them the skills that they need to lead people, to inspire people, to motivate people.
Yeah.
Which they sound like kind of easy words to share, but they're difficult words to implement. Because a lot of people are just disillusioned at work. Most people go to work every day unhappy.
Yeah, because I've worked in sales and business development and marketing most of my career, and I've had bosses that know how to get you to perform, and people you just don't want to work for. You just really just hate the person because he's just a jerk. But there's also some sales managers that are jerks, but they somehow get you to perform. They have that dynamic with you. I don't know if it's similar to what you're talking about, but I've had people where they're rough on you, but they get the best out of you.
Yeah, there are people that's tough love, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of the time, people that go into leadership roles in sales management are because they've been good salespeople.
Yeah.
And they don't then get any formal training to be a great manager.
Yeah.
So it's like, right, you've got the best figures in the office, you could be the next manager. And you go from getting that win of making a sale yourself to now getting your win from having to watch other people make sales. And it's not quite the same hit, It's that hit of making a sale is a big adrenaline pump, You get in the car, you punch the ceiling, and it's, yes, I've done that business. When you've got to get a group of people to do that, and they have the success, they punch the ceiling, the feelings are different.
Yeah. And
not everyone can accept that. I suppose it's like, Formula One racing drivers. They're just selfish people. Yeah. They're in a team of 600 people, but Lewis Hamilton's a selfish guy. They're selfish guys. They're the prima donna, and a salesman is like that if he's successful.
Yeah.
So then to move them into a role where they actually become leaders of others, it's a skill as well, and it has to be taught. And just most companies don't teach it.
Yeah. And
so. Are there just assholes out there? Yeah, of course there are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just aren't being given the skills they need.
Yeah. So what do you think is I'm sure that products and services, they're all different in how you sell it, but what would you say are kind of like 2 or 3 of the top things people should know about sales just in general?
I think that you have to understand that sales is a skill. A lot of people, there's no way in the world you would employ a lawyer that hadn't passed a bar exam.
Yeah.
If you wanted to set your company up or get divorced or whatever it might be, you wouldn't go and see a lawyer and he said, yeah, well, do you know what? I'm not qualified, but I think I can handle it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go and sit down with a doctor that said to you, well, you know what? I've not started medical school yet, but come on, show me that. Let me stitch it up. Yeah. You'd be like, no chance. But salespeople aren't professionally trained through many, many companies. There's this kind of, he's an extrovert, or he's great with communicating. He's a funny guy. That doesn't make a salesperson.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest salespeople are massive introverts. So it's a skill that people have to learn, and I think that there's just so little that is done in teaching people how to be professional salespeople.
Yeah.
And if you put time and money into teaching your staff how to fix a car, okay, but you've got a bunch of guys out there on the forecourt selling cars that aren't formally trained to sell.
Yeah.
Yet you've sent the guys off to go and learn how to fix the cars, service the cars. And it's like, why would you teach some people to do their job and others not? And then this comes back down to a bigger problem. And the bigger problem is, can you name a university on this planet, in the States, in the UK, anywhere, that does a course in sales?
No, yeah, I don't.
There isn't one.
Yeah.
Yeah, how important is it to be a good salesperson? The first thing my daughter's going to do when she leaves university is go for job interviews.
Yeah.
She's got to sell herself. So what have they done at university to prepare her, to teach her? Where was the 3-month course she took in those 4 years?
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, you're right. No, it doesn't exist.
And it really angers me because it's an important skill. It's important that people know this.
Yeah. I never thought about it. They never actually teach it. Yeah. I mean, I went to sales trainings, but I did car sales. Mm-hmm. So every car sales company, at least in the United States that I worked for, puts you through like a 1 week or a 2 week crash course. And
great. So
what
you're
you should wear.
Okay, but just think about that. A 1 week or a 2 week crash course. Would you employ a lawyer that's been on a 2 week crash course?
Yeah, no, exactly.
No.
Yeah.
So you've got this 2 week crash course, you taught a bit of product, and you're not taught everything because you don't sell to everybody.
Yeah.
How many car salespeople sit there and wait for people to walk through the front door?
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Yeah.
Who deals with, the relationship with the client once they've become a client? You know, what's the strategy employed there? What are the skills that you need from getting a client through the door, then to taking that client and upselling them more and more?
Yeah.
And again, salespeople that are paid commission, okay, the ones that are money hungry to earn commission are the ones that companies look for. Right?
Yeah.
What value do you bring?
Yeah.
And so by producing the videos that I produce online and the content that I produce online, I'm trying to demonstrate to people the world has changed. In the late 80s and early 90s, when I started selling, we had none of this.
Yeah.
It was a yellow pages and a telephone,
okay,
that was attached to a wall. You know?
You had to put a quarter in.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they were the tools we had. The world has changed. I mean, we went from that and filofaxes, okay, and into other tools that exist. And those tools that exist today, I mean, you know this, you're a digital guy. The other tools that exist today, people aren't using.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've got to learn to use them. And so what I try and do is teach people how to use those tools. And, you know, all of the clients that come to the university come to us. Yeah. We don't make a phone call to anybody. We make zero cold calls. Zero.
Yeah.
Every week, people come to us and say, guess what? I've seen what you've done online. I watch your content. I really like this. I like that. Would you come and talk to us, please?
Yeah.
Well, just think about other companies, how great it would be for business. Because people that come to me and say, can you come and talk to me? How much selling am I doing? They've already made a decision they want to do business with me.
Yeah.
I'm going in there to facilitate them.
Yeah.
Well, that's the perfect sales scenario.
Yeah.
You go and see somebody and they already want to do business with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kind of works for me.
Yeah. So how does someone get in touch with the university and sign up if they're interested?
So the Make It Happen University literally is makeithappen.university. Or people can get a hold of us and follow us on Facebook and give us a shout. And so Make It Happen SL is on Facebook. Or go to YouTube and go and look at the channel there. That's Make It Happen Spencer Lodge. You'll see that there.
Awesome.
All that kind of stuff.
So I think it's a great episode. How can people follow you and find you?
I'm hiding, so you can't. So I mean, whichever channel people like to use. I mean, my name it sounds like an old people's home, so it's not hard to find. There's a hotel in New Zealand called Spencer Lodge, the only one. But anyway,
that's awesome.
So don't go to the hotel in New Zealand. Yeah. That's not me. But yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Spencer Lodge. You can find. I mean, I'm out there. If you really want to find me, you can find me. It's not difficult. So come, you know, and if you make the effort to find me, there's hundreds and hundreds of videos that I've made teaching people the stuff that I really feel is valuable to them. So even if they don't want to become a client just yet and want to be like skeptical, I'm not entirely sure I believe that yet. Let me see some evidence first. Great. Guess what? There's 150 videos on YouTube. Yeah. Go and watch them and tell me what you think. If you think I'm valuable, get in touch.
Awesome. Thank you for being on. I really appreciate it.
No worries, man. Thanks for having us on.